Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into the channel. I don't know why, but for me it seems like it's been a really long time that we've had an opportunity to talk about bicycling. In any event, today, yes, we're going to talk about how to pedal your bike. More specifically, we're going to talk about ways to position yourself while you're pedaling under different circumstances. We're going to talk about different things that you can do in terms of the positioning of your body to make sure that you're maximizing your efficiency as a cyclist. So pedaling your bike. Now, if you've gotten a bike fit, oftentimes when you get out in the real world, some things feel a little bit different. You have different forces actually acting on you when you're in the real world. You may have the pitch of the road that changes, the wind, the circumstances of having to deal with other cyclists, road surfaces. All of that can actually affect the way how you ride and function on the bike. But the things that I want to talk about today are your neutral position, which is basically what you've got or how you ride after your bike fit, how you would ride once you get into the drops for riding fast along the flats, and I'll also talk to you about ways to position yourself for climbing. So if we say this is my position for my bike fit, this is what we call neutral. So this is neutral. This is just my normal position. I'm very comfortable. I'm not stressed. My arms aren't stressed. I can do this position all day long. Like I said, I don't have too much pressure on my hands. My butt's on my sit bones. I'm comfortable. I can look up, I can look down, I can reach down, grab my water bottle. I'm very comfortable. This is neutral, okay? Neutral can be here on the hoods. Neutral can also be here on the tops, okay? So that's what we call the neutral riding position. The first thing that I want to show you is if you're moving along on the flats, speed is picking up, and instead of riding on the tops or on the hoods, you want to get in the drops. I'm going to show you the way to get in the drops. There's a couple of different things that you can do. I have seen people riding in the drops where this is their hand position, okay? And it's not so much that there's something wrong with this, but it's not ideal. The ideal way to get in the drops is where you can get your hands here in the hooks. So it's maybe something that you want to practice, because when your hands are back here, usually your elbows are locked out, and you can't really tell from my position because I already have a pretty aggressive position, but you're creating a big old parachute right here. So the right way to get in the drops is when your hands are in the hooks. I'm close to my brakes. If this was a bike that didn't have down two shifters, I'd also have the ability to shift gears. So I'm very comfortable here in the hooks. So I'm riding along, I'm in the drops, and my hands are in the hooks. Now, the right way to take advantage of being in the drops and flatten your back and get a more aggressive position is to bend your elbows downwards, slide your butt forward. And you can see that my position just got a lot more aggressive by doing that. I'm a lot more aerodynamic. I can get even more aggressive with it. Okay. So that's a position we'll adopt when it's go time. Okay, so that's riding along in the flats, being aggressive, the right way of actually getting in the drops. Get your hands in the hooks, bend your elbows, drop your shoulders, pull your butt forward, okay? Okay, so let's talk about climbing positions. When you're climbing, you're employing a different muscle group when you're climbing. You're doing a lot, not just pushing, but when you're climbing, you're actually doing kind of like a pulling motion. And the video that I did previously where I talked about smoothing out your pedal stroke, and I mentioned pulling your knees up to your chest pulling your knees up to your chest is a more natural way of doing the backwards motion. It really is, because when you try to pull your knees up to your chest, you're doing a pulling, but you're getting your hip flexors involved, and you're engaging your core a lot more also, rather than just relying on these muscles that you don't always use a lot. So when you're climbing, a couple things that you can do. When you're climbing, one way to go up a hill is to grind up a hill. The other way to go up a hill is to spin up a hill. So grinding up a hill would involve you being on the tops, pushing your body back on the saddle about as far back as you feel comfortable doing it. And when you're pedaling forward, you're doing kind of like a forward pedaling motion, almost like you're trying to stand up out of the saddle is what you're trying to do. And at the same time, you're kind of like pulling back in the downstroke, okay? So that's the way that you'd grind up a climb. So that would be the way to grind up a climb. I'm pushing and I'm pulling at the same time. My cadence is dropped, it's very low. That's one way to get up a climb, okay? The other way to get up a climb is to spin up a climb. You're still in the tops, but you move yourself forward on the saddle, maybe not as much as in the previous position that I showed you. And you just sit here and you spin up a climb. This is another way to climb, okay? For really long climbs, 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour-long climb, you can also alternate between positions. Sometimes you're back here, grinding, sometimes you're up here, spinning up. You can even get up out of the saddle, okay? Stretch your back a little bit if you needed to. But there's no one all day long pedal stroke that solves all of your pedaling problems. It's usually a variation of pedaling positions that you want to be able to take advantage of. Okay? So that's it. Different ways to pedal your bike. Neutral, okay? Getting into the drops. Getting busy. Climbing, grinding up a climb, spinning up a climb. The important thing is that once you've identified their different type of pedaling positions, is to try different pedaling positions out on your ride. Pay attention to the terrain that you're going over. Make adjustments as you need. Speed changes, try to do different things just to see how it feels with your body. And one of the things that you should find is that by varying the way how you pedal, controlling your cadence, your pedal stroke, you're going to eliminate fatigue, have a much more enjoyable time on the bike. Okay guys, so that's it. I hope that informative. One word of caution, as you practice these things, don't move yourself forwards or backwards on the saddle to the point where you cause or create discomfort. Maybe practice incrementally moving yourself backwards or forwards a little bit until you start to feel a little bit more comfortable. Your body starts adapting to the nuanced changes in those positions. Because the last thing that you want to do is, for the sake of efficiency, is to injure yourself or to cause discomfort. So a little bit at a time is the right way to do it. But I highly recommend that you practice these different things just so that you can maximize your efficiency on a bike. I hope that you'll consider subscribing. One of our focuses, as we say, we want to continue to inform, instruct, and inspire, and we need to grow the channel in order to be able to continue to put out good content, and in order to be able to do that. So once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Be blessed.